Radio TV Phono Nut here, and I thought you'd like to see our nice, shiny, new Cutler Hammer disconnect for the Rheem Central Air Conditioning Unit from 2002. This guy right here, and yeah, it's 18 years old, and we're trying to baby it along because I know 18 years old is quite a few years for one of these, and I want to try to get as much life as I can out of it. Now here's what brought on the replacement of the disconnect. Saturday afternoon, the pooch needed to come outside and do his business, and when I brought him out, I smelt something burning, and then I heard something arcing, and I looked over there, and smoke and fire was coming out of the disconnect switch for the air conditioner. So I immediately ran around and flipped off the circuit breaker to kill the power. And then when everything cooled down, I took it apart, and this is what I found. Now this is a square D disconnect, and here's the disconnect switch. This is just a switch. This is not an actual circuit breaker. But here's what apparently happened. Our incoming voltage comes in here, which is our load side, or excuse me, our line side. And down here is our load, which is our output, which connects to the air conditioning unit. And apparently this terminal here wasn't making good connection with the terminal on the bus bar inside the box, and it started arcing and sparking and got hot and melted and caught on fire. And then right here you can see on the side where it caught on fire and burned out. Yeah, this thing's pretty charred. Now, here's our box, and you can see where the plastic melted on the connector here on the box, which is no surprise. You can see how all black and carbonized it is inside here. Here's the shell for the box, and I've cleaned it up a little bit, and you see how all black and burnt it is. Well, I was going to replace the box myself, even went to Lowe's to get the box, and came home with a Cutler Hammer fuse disconnect. Even though we have a circuit breaker, I felt a little better about having a fuse disconnect in addition to the circuit breaker. In case the circuit breaker fails, which they've been known to do, we'll have the fuses to fall back on. Well, I got home with a new box, and I don't know why I thought that the original mounting holes would line up with the new mounting holes on the replacement box, but that wasn't the case. And as it happens, I didn't have the right drill bit or the right screws to properly drill the holes and mount the box. So, you know, that entailed some drama that I won't get into. And personally, I don't like drama. So, you know, it's one of those cases where it was just easier just to call the air conditioning man and let him come check everything out and make sure it's okay and install the disconnect, which he did. And he didn't charge us a lot, which is good. And before any of you start making comments or assumptions about, well, if you can fix an old radio or TV, you ought to be able to change a disconnect. Well, it's not a question of that. I've dug capacitors out of old radios and replaced them, and that was harder than what changing this box out would have been. But when you don't have the right stuff to do it with, and when there's excess drama created as a result, then it's just easier just to call somebody else and let them do it. Now, our air conditioner guy told us that these square D disconnects are only good for about 4 or 5 years before they go snap, crackle, pop. And I said, well, we must have gotten lucky with ours, because it's been there since 1996 when Dad first had central heat and air installed in the house. Prior to '96, we had 3 window shaker air conditioners and an American Standard natural gas furnace that lasted from 63 until 96. And I don't know what Dad paid for the first system, but he bought a Janitrol unit that was a piece of junk. In fact, the repairman was over here so often that we almost added an extra room to the house for him to have a place to stay. And in 2002, the evaporator coil developed a leak, and so the Junkatrol got replaced with a current ream system. And I don't know what Dad paid for that first unit back in 96, but I know they're a lot more expensive today. And so yeah, we're going to try to keep the 18-year-old one going as much as possible. And as far as circuit breakers and disconnects or any kind of switch that carries high current, it's always a good idea to keep an eye on them and make sure all the connections are tight, make sure nothing is overheating. And in the case of pull-out disconnects and fuse contacts, make sure the contacts are nice and shiny. They're not bluish in color, bluish or black or anything like that, because if they are, that indicates they've gotten loose and they've gotten hot, and you probably just need to go ahead and replace it before you have a flame fest on your hands. Now, as far as this, had we not been at home, or had the dog not needed to go out, or had that box been mounted on a wooden surface, or had I not recently gotten out and cutting the bushes away from the box, it could have been a disaster. So you want to pay attention to these kind of things. Alright, there you go. There's my little bit of drama for the week. And we'll get back into some repair videos soon, and more to come later.